Madam Chairman, this has been an interesting debate. It's been a lengthy debate, an important debate, but I must resist all the amendments.
Matthew Pennycook.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I will be very brief. It's pleased that the Minister recognised the thoughtfulness of new Clause 3 and other new clauses and amendments, and I note his intention to keep the House well informed, but it's deeply disappointing that the Minister has resisted new Clause 3, and so we will be seeking to test the will of the House on this matter.
The question is that new Clause 3 be read a second time. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Aye. Of the contrary, no.
No!
Division. Ayes to the right were 284, the noes to the left were 333. So the noes have it, the noes have it. Unlock. We continue with new Clause 4 on page 21 of the amendment paper, with which it will be convenient to debate the new clauses and amendments. Point of order, Chris Leslie.
Madam Deputy Speaker, I just raise a point of order and seek your guidance on how members, and right honourable and honourable members, can find an opportunity to divide, to vote, to make some decisions on some incredibly crucial issues when we've had a knife in proceedings such as this, curtailing not just debate but our opportunity for the House to vote on incredibly important things, the European arrest warrant, single market. What can be done, Madam Deputy Speaker? Why could we not have more votes on these amendments?
Order. Could I just say, before I answer the honourable gentleman's point of order, that any further points of order and any further points that people wish to raise bites into the next group of amendments, just to start with. Secondly, the chairs, the deputy chairs and the clerks spent a very, very long time looking at every single amendment in detail, looking at every single group in detail, and over a period of 3 days, and we came to the decision that we would put the lead amendment to a division and then we would move on to the second group. I want to take this opportunity also to say that the issue of EU nationals will be voted on Wednesday. So that's something that's been moved to the group that is on the order paper for Wednesday. But it is not for the chair to explain why a decision has been taken. It has been taken, and there will be no justification for it. And I think, on that note, unless there is any new point of order, I think it is important that we give as much time as possible to debate the next group of amendments. Point of order, West Streeting.
I'm grateful, Madam Deputy Speaker, and I don't think any members would want to challenge the decision of the chair. In the previous group, we discussed dozens of amendments, including my amendment, new clause 56, regarding our future relationship with the European Economic Area. The former Chancellor said that the economy is not the priority of this government in the EU negotiations. Madam Deputy Speaker, what can we do to make sure the public are aware that we are taking our scrutiny seriously?
Order. That is not a point of order. It is very close to challenging the decision of the chair. Now, I'm happy to take the honourable gentleman's point of order, but the next group is on devolved legislatures, so he is eating into the time that is actually for the minority parties to debate. But Alex Salmond.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Chair. There is no challenge to the chair in any of these points of order. The honourable members are entitled to point out that this programme motion is railroading debate on the biggest constitutional decision facing this country for 50 years. Now, the Chairman's panel have no alternative but to follow the programme motion, but honourable members are entitled to challenge that programme motion.
Order. This is not about the programme motion on which the House voted. That was not a decision that was taken by the chairs. Now, I think we should move on. Stephen Doughty. Deputy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I simply want to seek a clarification on something you just said a moment ago, which was about the selection of the lead amendment in each case to vote on. Is it the case, therefore, that in all of the groups we're going to go through over the next 3 days, that only the lead amendment will be voted on? Because I think that would be of great concern to all members of the House.
It's absolutely not the case. It may be, but it's not necessarily the case. In this group, we decided that only the lead amendment would be divided on. Can we move on now? Vice Chairman.
Madam Deputy Speaker, just on that last point, we have to answer to our constituents, and many of our constituents will not understand tonight that many of the amendments that have been put that they are deeply interested in have been chosen in a not very open democratic manner.
I'm going to move on now. That again is not a point of order. It was a decision of the chair. It was a difficult decision. I understand members' frustration, but I think the points have been made, and I think we really need to move on.
New clauses and amendments in this group. I hope I've set out for the House reasons why all of them should be opposed by those that wish to see Article 50 triggered, and if any of them are pressed to a division, I hope the House will reject them.
Order. I have no power to impose time limits on committee stage debates. There are a lot of members who wish to speak. This debate from the back benches has to end at 11:45 to allow the front benches any time at all to wind up. It is patently obvious that not all members are going to get in. Could I urge extreme brevity, please? Charlie.
Thank you very much, Mr Hoyle. I rise to speak in support of amendment number 46 laid in my name and that of my honourable friends. But just before I do that, Mr Hoyle, I'd like to take the opportunity to thank the honourable members opposite who've spoken this evening for their quite extraordinary display of hubris and contempt towards these amendments laid by several different parties, which simply seek to make sure that the reality of the modern British Constitution and the devolved settlement is respected. Those of us who believe that Scotland would be better off managing her own affairs as an independent member of the European Union will have received a huge boost this evening as a result of their behaviour. And it was a pleasure to listen to the speech by the honourable gentleman who represents Foyle, and I'm sure he will forgive me if I say that I suspect that the cause of a united Ireland has also received a boost this evening. I very much hope so. I'm just going to say what I want to say and say it briefly, so maybe some other people from my party might get a chance to speak. The purpose of Amendment 46 is to require the Prime Minister to obtain legislative consent of the Scottish Parliament, the Welsh Assembly and the Northern Irish Assembly before she triggers Article 50. And it's a pleasure to get the opportunity to correct the honourable gentleman who represents North West Cambridgeshire in his woeful misunderstanding of what the Supreme Court did and did not say in relation to legislative consent motions. What they said was that, as presently framed in the Scotland Act, it's not legally enforceable. What they didn't say was that it has no meaning whatsoever. Again, the honourable gentleman for Foyle quoted paragraph 151 of the Supreme Court's judgment, and I very much suggest to the honourable members opposite that they read the judgment rather than take from it what they would like it to say. Because what it said is the Sewel Convention has an important role in facilitating harmonious relationships between the UK Parliament and the devolved legislatures, but the policing of its scope and the manner of its operation does not lie within the constitutional remit of the judiciary. No, I'm not going to give way. I'm going to keep going, and I'm going to...
Order. Can I... No, the honourable lady just have to take a seat for a moment. I've been very kind by bringing the SNP in. Please don't take advantage of the time that I wanted to split. Order. I wanted to show... Sorry, I wanted to show the time. I'm hoping the honourable lady is coming to an end just to get one more speaker in, which I promised I would do by allowing you to speak.
My point is this, that the purpose of this amendment is to do what the government said they were going to do when they brought the Scotland bill forward, to make the Scottish Parliament the most powerful devolved parliament in the world, and to give it a say in this process, which will fundamentally affect the rights of Scottish citizens and Scottish business. And I note that honourable members opposite were given as much time as they wanted to make their points, and I intend to take as much time as is my right to make my point.
Order. I think the honourable lady's come to an end. Can we have the Minister, please?
Thank you, Mr Hoyer.
Mr Salmon, you should know better. Order. 1 second. A point of order, Mr Salmon.
It's quite clear that the honourable lady had not resumed her seat, sir. Being in the chair accords you many privileges, but you cannot reinterpret the wishes of an honourable member who is on her feet.
Mr Salmon, as the chair, I have the right to make decisions on this House. Just a moment. What I would say is, quite rightly, I wanted to bring the honourable lady in, which I did. When the SNP whip comes and gives me an ask for me to give a couple of minutes to ensure that you've got another voice, which I did. I certainly don't expect advantages to be taken of the chair on the agreement that I made. That's the difference. Sit down.
Thank you, Mr Hoyle. Thank you, Mr Hoyle, and thank you for the chairing of this debate.
Mr Salmon. Oh, Mr Wishart, calm down. It's a very serious matter. It's so serious that I want to hear what the Minister's got to say. In response to where we are. I think it's very serious. I want to hear it.
Well, this is a hugely important debate.
Order! Mr Salmon, can you just clarify something for me? Mr Salmon,
forced your colleague to sit down.
Absolutely. Temperatures are running quite high. We need to just calm it down. In fairness, I've been very generous in coming into the chair. Mr Wishart, we don't need any extra help just for the moment. Can I just say, I want to hear, and you would expect to hear, what the Minister's got to say in response to the opening speeches, which I believe you would have wanted answers to. Now, the fact is, I believe this House also wants to hear what the Minister's got to say. The last thing I wanted to do was take up the time on points of order, because in the end we'll not hear what the Minister's got to say. Now, I understand you may have used some unparliamentary language to me. I'm sure that's not the kind of person that you are, and I'm sure you didn't. I'm saying I don't know. No, I didn't. I'm saying I'm sure it wasn't the case. That's what I said. I didn't accuse you, far from it. Now then, what I want to do is let's get the Minister on his feet.
Mr Hoyle, thank you, Mr Hoyle. And we've heard from all four corners of the United Kingdom. Everyone who has spoken in this debate agrees on the importance of engaging closely with the devolved administrations and legislatures as we embark upon the forthcoming negotiations.
I have to say I have great respect for you as a chair, but I hope you can understand the frustration that we all feel that only 2 SNP MPs have been called in this debate, which is important to the future of Scotland and our position within Europe. And I'm asking what you can do to make sure in this debate that the voice of the people of Scotland is heard correctly. It has not been heard this evening to the extent that it should.
Can I just say to you, I've walked into the chair, I've tried to ensure there was a second voice, which we're listening to. That's what I agreed to, and that's what I've done. In fairness, I think you've done better than was going to happen, and in which case, let's see what the Minister's got to say.
Mr Hoyle, engaging the devolved administrations and discussing. Give way very briefly to the honourable gentleman, but I can only give way once.
I'm delighted the Minister has been able to give way. I wonder if the Treasury bench would take on board the fact that honourable members in this House who have put amendments forward to this bill in all good faith haven't even been able to move those amendments this evening because of the programme motion that his government has done. They've been forced kicking and screaming by the Supreme Court to this chamber to bring this bill. It's about time the government thought again and gave us more time for debate.
This House voted for a programme motion. That programme motion has been followed by the Chair.